Good morning, class. I'm going to take us through our fourth lecture this morning. It's about 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. I think it's September 16th or thereabouts. I'm actually shifting the order of things a little bit. I originally thought we would talk about offers in this lecture, but I'm going to do that next time. Very important topic, which really belongs under the heading of databases, is segmentation. And I want us to cover that now. Look up the word segmentation. Google the definition of the word segmentation. See what it says. That is our topic for today. And then I will, after we talk about segmentation, we'll talk about what's due before the next lecture. So this is a pretty good visualization of segmentation. Okay, I think my guess is that the way jigsaw puzzles are made is that the image is printed on cardboard and then cut into puzzle pieces. It is segmented into smaller pieces. Okay, just like you segment an orange normally before you eat it. You segment it by removing the peel and leaving the fruit. And then the fruit is nicely divided into sections, which can be peeled off and eaten one by one as you segment the orange. Here is a definition of segmentation vis-a-vis marketing. It is the process, or if you're Canadian, process of dividing a population into distinct segments by demographics and or psychographics. And actually there are several other ways to segment populations, which we'll get to soon. We select one or more segments to form our target markets, and this is key. We reach out to each target market with a uniquely relevant marketing mix. You can look at it this way. Do you know what a mass blast is? Okay, in terms of email messaging. Okay, what that means is when you send the same message to everyone in a database. Everybody gets exactly the same subject line, text, offer, pictures, everything. And this is not a very effective way to communicate because people like to be treated as individuals. Now, mass blast is one end of the spectrum. What is the other end of the spectrum in terms of communicating? That is individualized marketing communication, sometimes referred to as one-to-one marketing. It's the idea of each customer in your database getting a unique message tailored for their needs, wants, personalities, demographics, psychographics. And think for a moment which companies do a good job at sending you what you need and want. In previous classes, I've had people mention Amazon. I've had people mention Spotify. I've had people mention Sephora. So segmenting is right in the middle of the two poles, so to speak. It's in the middle of the spectrum. It is something between mass blast and one-to-one. It's taking your database and dividing it into segments of people with similar characteristics and then designing communications for that segment. Okay. Here is a pictorial representation of what I mean by segmenting. If we were in class, I would ask the class, how many people here eat steak? And I always get a surprisingly large number of hands, because in my head, I'm always thinking that so many folks are going vegan these days. I know some of you are. My daughter's a vegetarian, not a vegan. Um, so this is a cow. It's a bull. It's a steer. That's what it would be called. Steer. This is an animal that's bred for meat. And you could buy this animal for so much per pound. Couldn't tell you exactly how much per pound. It depends on if you're wholesale or retail. But it's not a huge amount per pound. Then you've got to go to the trouble of figuring out what to do with it after that, which can be a somewhat unpleasant task, which those of us in modern society have absolutely nothing to do with. If we were living in, the 1780s, the 1600s, 1500s, times before that, we probably would have something to do with it. It might make us go vegetarian more quickly. I don't know. How do we segment a steer? Like that. And again, you steak eaters, if I were to ask you what is your favorite cut of steak, what would you say? I would probably hear filet mignon. That is a certain part of the beef cow. Maybe I'd hear you say ribeye, which happens to be my favorite. That is a different part of the beef cow. And so you've also got parts of the cow that get turned into chuck, a hamburger, so it's very fatty. Um, and here you see basically um, this poor animal, how he would be carved up. And ribeye steak, prime ribeye steak, which is the highest grade, is going to be $30 to $40 a pound. Not and chuck is going to be $3 or $4 a pound. So now you don't have one price for a whole cow. You've segmented the cow. You're pulling more value, frankly, out of the cow by treating each segment differently. Now, here's something for you vegetarians, because I don't want you to feel left out. Oops. By the way, with the cow, we also take the skin, and that's leather. And for those of you who don't know, Jello is made from the hoofs of cows. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. Vegetarian. And here we go. And what is that class? That is a beet. And those are beet greens, all from one plant. But what we normally do is we cut the greens off and sell them separately from the beet. So we can even separate a plant and sell different parts of the plant separately with different prices and different uses, etc., etc. Segmentation. This is a picture of what it really looks like in terms of what you do with your database. And this is why the segmentation lecture belongs underneath database, because it's one of the first things you do with a customer database is you look it over, you run lots of analyses, and you try to find people who have similar characteristics, and you chunk them into smaller chunks, and you come up with different communications for each segment. And this creates much higher response rates for all your communications. This is the key, and I should underline that. This is a year or two old. Don't think it's changed too much. Facebook has 52,000 different customer segments based on psychographics and demographics. And this is their self-help page for advertisers, which almost all of Facebook's advertisers use this page to build their ad campaigns on Facebook. And you can see the choices on the bottom here. You can click core audiences. This is where, if you've analyzed your own database, for instance, and you know who your MVCs are, and you want to find more people like them, you can enter certain characteristics and you can reach those people on Facebook and build your customer file with new customers. Custom audiences means that you're taking your existing database and you're going to communicate with your existing customers on Facebook. So this is not a case of attracting new customers. It's a case of building relationships with current customers. And then finally, lookalike audiences is just what it says it is. Okay. The reason Facebook has, I think it's probably close to 30% of the internet ad dollars in the US. Between Google and Facebook together, they have 60% of all US ad dollars spent on interactive advertising, folks. It's called the duopoly. The reason Facebook is so successful is because of all the things they know about their users and their ability to take that information and help advertisers find the right people, the right segments. Now, I just want to, let's see what time it. Okay, so Emma is an email marketing company. These are some data that they shared a year or two ago concerning how to run more successful mailings. The first one is the relevant one for us today. A segmented mailing list, almost 8 times as productive. This is in terms of clicks and orders.
Susan Bin Ceiling.
Well, hang on, folks. Hang on. Susan, just a minute. I'm recording my class, so just let me stop the recording. Damn it. Okay. All right, so you guys got a thrilling look into the life of Professor Ely. That was my ex-wife, who's coming up to my building in Riverdale to swim today. Okay, so let me keep going here, folks. Come on, you little critters. Dang it. Okay. If you don't segment your mailing list, you get a higher unsubscribe rate. People have a 30% unsubscribe average for a year. Triggered emails. This is a good thing for you guys to make a note of. This is a transactional email. So you book a hotel room, you get a reservation confirmation email, and your open rate is very high. Your normal open rate is, well, I don't know, 25 or 30%, but open rates are like 90%. Conversion rate means sales. So if you've got an offer of some kind that's from a triggered email, say, for instance, you send someone a thank you for your business email when they bought something on your site, and as part of that email, you make them an offer for a second product at a discount. It's a smart thing to do, by the way. Welcome email after first purchase. Okay. So this is kind of how it works. You tailor your creative message and your media channels to reach specific segments. And you remember earlier I said that segmentation was based on demographics and psychographics, but also on other things. Technographics means what kinds of devices people use. I can target iPhones versus Samsung phones. Transaction history is the really important one here for segmentation. And when I say let's segment by transaction history, why would I do that? And if I asked you that question, you would say, I'm going to use transaction history. I'm going to look at people's transactions in my database to find my MVCs. Geographics is another way to segment. I'm going to stop here, and you guys are going to watch a short video, which is a charity talking about how they segment, and then tailor communication.